Here is a word of advice for people in relationships. If you should be getting into a relationship, even if you're not in one now, especially if you're a female, I would say avoid telling a man that you don't need him. Avoid telling a man that you don't need him, that you only want him. You want him, but you don't need him. I would advise against saying that. Even if you feel it and it's in your mind, if you have any, concern in staying in a relationship with that man and for him to feel the same way about you, or the way towards you that you would like in a relationship, I would avoid saying that. Because you see, what a lot of women don't understand or fail to sometimes is that men, or even not even necessarily understand, but remember even, because I think inherently we know this as human beings, but men, the male species, needs to be needed. It's this whole thing of the pursuit, and being the protector and being, the masculine, conqueror, the king and the queen and that whole thing. And men like to feel needed because that is their purpose, to be needed for whatever purpose it may be, protection, that whole thing. It's to be needed. That's the nature. So when a woman tells a man, I don't need you, it hits right at the core of what he is about, what he is. He is there to be needed. And so in doing that, it breaks down that whole thing that makes the man and the woman connect and on their most basic connective level. So, because it's all of this now, it's the whole independent woman thing, it's equal opportunities, it's I don't need a man, I can do it on my own. And yes, that may all well be true in this day and age, But when you take away that thing from a man by telling him that, you take away the very thing that connects you both, because then he then seeks that thing that he needs to be, which is needed. So then it breaks down the very thing you may be trying to build with a man. So yes, avoid telling a man you don't need him, unless you really just don't want him at all, then that's different. But just to tell him that you don't need him, just to make you feel, above, or to make yourself feel good, or whatever it might be, whatever reason, or trying to make him feel that, he needs you more or whatever. If you want that guy, don't tell him that. Just have that in your head if you feel that way, but don't voice it. Unless you're planning to end the relationship and you don't want to see him again or whatever, you don't care about him, that's different. But if you want that man in your life, avoid saying, I want you, I don't need you, because then he feels he has no purpose. That's just our nature. We need to be needed, feel needed. I absolutely think it goes both ways with all of that said. And I say it because it's a common thing women say to guys, like, I don't need you in my life. The minute the guy's playing up, or she thinks he's getting too big for his boots, or whatever the reason might be, but she'll say it. She'll say, I don't need you. And in some cases, it's right to be said at certain times, especially if he's behaving in ways you shouldn't be with that person, like maybe they're, I'm going into abuse now and, domestic abuse and that kind of stuff. Yeah, you really don't need that shit. So that's right. But outside of that, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about it's just situations where you just want to let the man know you don't need him. You actually really want the guy, but you want to let him know you don't need him. That's what I mean. I actually think relationships may get more out of the person hearing that they're needed. It comes back to that thing of feeling wanted. Like if someone tells you I need you, it puts you in that place of I'm actually necessary in this whole thing.